Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. I am so excited to have my guest, Lauren Najjar, join me. She's going to share a little bit about who she is and what it is that she does. So, Lauren, take it away.
Thank you so much, Tammy, for having me. It's so great to be here. I am Lauren Najjar, and I am a business coach. I also have my own Done For You agency. So we support coaches and small businesses on both ends of the spectrum. So I can help you and consult with you and coach with you into growing your business. Then I can also do Done For You services for you as well. So social media
So
management, lead
nice.
generation, things like that. I'm definitely multi-passionate. So that's something that I've had my whole life. And I like to do a lot of things. I used to think of myself a jack of all trades, or, you're good at a lot of things, but you're a master of none. So that's basically what my background is. And that's where, my upbringing has been my whole life. And yeah, I live in Chicago, or I live in the outskirts of Chicago, I should say. I live in the suburbs. It's easier just to say I live in and around Chicago. I
Yeah,
live in
yeah.
Northwest Indiana, technically. I have been running this business for 4 years, probably this month.
Wow.
I think that's coming up in a couple of days, actually. So
Well,
I've been
happy anniversary.
thank you. My coaching business has been 4 years. I've had the agency side of my business now for about a year and a half.
Oh, nice, nice. And what made you decide to do the agency side?
Definitely going back to my multi-passionate personality. I really appreciate coaching, and I like helping people and guiding them to their answers. But what I found through some of the clients that I had is, I think initially when I was taught how to coach, definitely when it comes to traditional coaching, is you're leading them to answers, you help them find the answers. But I also
Yes.
feel like there's definitely room. And I know for me, I love strategy, and I love planning, and I love brainstorming. And so I definitely have always coached in that way, where I'm definitely more hands-on than somebody just to guide you. So I definitely like to be more hands-on with my clients. And I started to realize that. I'm like, well, it's my business. Why can't I do this?
Yes.
So I decided that I'm going to support people in both ways. And so they can basically pick their path when they come to me. Um, a lot of businesses that are solopreneurs, I would say,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely need the coaching first, to establish some systems and processes and things like that. But then I also like to help people. A lot of times they've already had teams, or they've worked with agencies and haven't really had great experiences, or they are ready to outsource. And so that's when I can come in. But I always, whenever I do have a coaching client, and they're asking me questions, or we have a sales call or something, I definitely always say I'm more hands-on. So I'm like, I'm definitely the type of coach that will ask you questions and dig deeper,
Hmm.
but I'm also there for you. I will review your content. I will review all your stuff. So I like to be hands-on. And I think that kind of balances out my multi-passionate. Like, I definitely like to be hands-on, but I also like to help people like find their own potential and maximize their potential too.
Yes, yes. So when you decided to do this, because this is something that I'm interested in, because I feel the same way like you. I can't just do one thing. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I get bored and I have
Yep.
to do different things. And I laughed. I said, I think about it now. I realize that that was the reason why, for me, I can't be working for people and I can't keep jobs. I mean, like, okay, I'm going to put it like this. Like, I've always had jobs and I still have a part-time job now. Well, anyway, but, and I've always had them, but I've never been able to just commit and stay with one place for longer than the longest I've stayed anywhere was 10 years. And when I stayed there, I floated in different places and different departments, different floors, different, it's just hard for me. And I always thought about that. But when you talk to people that are in the coaching industry, especially here, they always want you just to do one thing. You
Mhm.
know, they want you just to, oh, you got to just niche down and, to this one thing, and you just have to do this one thing, so
Yeah.
how do you share with people um about how to um engage all of your passions? How do you share with people that, because you being that person,
Mhm.
you can talk to people and share, hey, you don't have to do it that way just because such and such a guru says that it has to be, blah blah blah. you know how do you deal with that?
I'm smiling because some of the words that you're saying, just like it's literally like a fire within me, because I feel like that piece of, well, the gurus are saying this, so I have to do it this way, but I don't want to do it this way. Why do I have to do it this way? And that is like the central focus of pretty much my life. Like I and I don't want to I don't want to tell a long story, but long story short is my entire life I've felt a little different, and
Hmm.
in the sense of, I definitely wasn't the one with the pink hair in high school. I definitely fit in. I played softball. On the surface a very normal looking person. I wasn't wearing the spikes. It wasn't punk rock. I wasn't a bad
Yes.
student, anything like that. But I
Inside.
inside, and what my path in life was not traditional to, I didn't want a traditional path, I should say. And so from the day I started college, I wanted to work for myself. And so I actually
Yes.
started with a finance degree, and I wanted to become a day trader. And then I wanted to figure out how to start my own eBay business. And I did that for a while. And I always wanted to find something that I don't know if it was ever about working for myself, but it was just
Right.
something where I could make money. And back then, being in my early 20s and late teens, was money was going to buy me happiness, and that's what I
Yes.
thought.
Yes.
I did go through I had cancer twice, and then both my parents passed away within a span of 5 years.
Oh, wow, girl.
So not to make the story so long,
Right.
but my mom passed away when I was 21, my dad passed away when I was 23, and then I was diagnosed with cancer the first time right before my 24th birthday. And then I relapsed about a year later. So in a span of 5 years, all of those things happening one after another kind of changed that mindset for me of, well, now I really need to find something that I'm fulfilled with. Life is short, obviously. I was slapped in the face with that 4 different times.
For sure.
Um, and so like after all of that, of course, and even still to this day, like, I will be cancer free 10 years in January.
Oh,
And
nice.
so even like it's been 10 years since that. And so like I'm still learning these lessons, but I will say that as I continued on this journey to find what works for me, like I I found what works for me, I guess. And that's the biggest thing, is that so many people have told me, and I grew up in a small, I wouldn't say small town. There's definitely a lot of people, but we're in the suburbs of Chicago. We're not in a city. And so traditionally everyone here wants to go to college, find a job, get married, have kids, buy a house. And I'm lucky enough that I met my husband to where he also doesn't see life in a traditional sense. And so while we, got together, we got married, we actually sold our house to move to a city and live in a 1 bedroom apartment. And we've been married 6 years, and we haven't had children yet. It's just not something that we've wanted up until this point. And so to many people around me in my life, pretty much every single person, that's backwards.
Right.
Like that's not traditional. And
Right.
so that is just another example of, you have to find what works for you and what you want out of life. And
Yes.
you don't necessarily need to go through the things that I went through to
Yes.
find that, right? Like you don't need a story, you don't need cancer or anything like that.
Well, you know, but we all have one.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Everyone has a story. Everyone
I
has
think
their thing.
sometimes we just need to connect with it is what we need
Yep.
to do, you know, in order to move forward, especially in business, in life as well.
Hmm.
You know, once we connect with it, you know, because the thing is everybody has one at
Yep.
some point, you know?
Yeah, everyone has a story. And that's another thing I tell my clients too, is I think that's a big struggle with a lot of people who want to build a business is they feel like they don't have a story because they haven't
Yes.
done something dramatic or experienced something traumatic,
Right.
and that's, you don't have to do that, like you don't have to feel those things. Like there's still some elements of your life that will inspire people, or situations that you've been through that
Yes.
maybe you take for granted. But yeah, so that's definitely where I come from as far as like, I think at the end of the day, that's what we have to figure out is like life is too short and you only get one shot at this. And unfortunately, I feel like then a lot of people think it's too late in life. So, we run into that as well. Um,
Yes.
where you want to start that business or you want to find your passion, and you're in your 50s or 60s or 70s and you feel like it's too late. And
Yeah.
I am the person on this earth to tell you that no, please do it now. Like, please do it
Yes.
now.
Yes. I feel that because actually have had that challenge because
Mhm.
I felt like, you know, it was too late because I've
Yeah.
already, you know, I'm in my 50s. And I was like, oh my God, you know. And I started looking at examples. Like I started seeing Louise Hay and I
Yep.
started seeing the Kentucky Fried Chicken Man, you
Yep.
know, and I started seeing the McDonald's, you know, all these people that, you know, finally got their lick at a certain age, you know, started looking at some of the actors like what's his name that used to do the electric company? Morgan Freeman.
Yep.
You know, he was like old by the time he actually, you know, took off.
Made it.
Before,
Yeah.
you know, he was in the damn electric company. I remember that. Yeah, it would have been before your time, but I'm sure you've heard.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember that because I remember him on the electric.
Yeah. There's so many examples.
Right. And so once you start looking and you start seeing, because I think that is really the thing. It's like, you know, you don't see it because you're not looking for that,
Exactly.
you know, and you're not at that place because even my workout lady that I follow, Ernestine Shepherd, you know, she's like 85 years old, but she's cut up and, you know, look like a brick house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I think about that because she even said that she didn't start working out until she was in her 50s. She said she heard somebody died or something and she got a wake up call and she started working out and taking care of her body and stuff. But she was in her 50s when she started.
Wow.
So, you know, so that kind of thing for me is like, okay, yeah, that's true. But you're right. People feel like they have to go through a lot and like they have to have this huge ass story, you know, like your story or like my story. I went across the country by myself and all this crap. And, you know, people feel like they need that,
Yeah.
but they don't really need that, do they?
They do not. I think it's hard, right? It's easier said than done
Yeah,
when you are either embarking on a new journey and you
right.
are looking to the experts for guidance, and
Hmm.
people are constantly telling you, how to do things. I guess I don't think I've ever I think I've always been this way where I like to take little bits of in pieces from everybody. I think maybe
Yes,
that's just my learning style.
right.
And I don't through my parents, and I know that my mom always kind of told me that I was very independent and kind of always reinforced that for me,
Hmm.
to be independent. And so maybe that's a little part of this, but I feel that if you truly want to do something on your own, or embark on a journey or do things your own way, and even if you don't at this point, maybe this is new that you're listening to, and this is something that you've never heard of, that is the
Yes.
best way. And like, I think like if anybody telling you that finding your own way is the best way, those are the people that you need to listen to, because
Yes.
you can't build a business and you can't do whatever it is and copy and paste from other people, you know.
Say that to louder for the people in the back, because that is what we
Cannot be
hear.
a copy of other people. Like, what's special and what your success special sauce is you. Like, and you might think that that's like, well, who, again, like that goes back to probably thinking that you don't have a story, like who's going to listen to me, all of these things. It's like, I mean, look at, like, you can just take a gander on Instagram and look at these people that people listen to, and you might even have some judgment in your mind, like, how are people listening to this? It's like, okay, there you go. If
Look,
people can listen to that, then people can listen to you. Like, you probably have more interesting things to say. So that's kind of, I think that's always been an element to me, and how I've like kind of gone forward is, well, if that person can do it, why can't I do this?
yes,
Or if that person, if that person is in Forbes, then I can get into Forbes. Or if that person is speaking on stage in front of 50 people, then why can't I do that too? And so that, my whole thing is like, why not? Like,
yes,
I think that's just like unlimited potential. It's like, well, why not? Why can't you do the things you want to do? Like, you are, whatever you're it's, what is that saying? It's like, whatever you're not doing, you're choosing.
yes,
So
yes,
like, it's a hard truth to really kind of hear that. And so people will come up with excuses and justifications, but
yes,
you're choosing to be in a job that you hate, or you're choosing to
yes.
be in a relationship that you hate. And I
And
understand
that's hard. That's
it is,
hard.
it is
I mean,
hard.
it really is a hard thing to realize that. It's almost like people talk about manifestation all the time. And I do, because I talk about that. But the thing is we're always manifesting.
Yep.
Now, whether we're manifesting what we desire or we're manifesting the opposite of that, we're manifesting it, and it's our responsibility. And
Yep.
I think that is hard for people to understand and deal, well, not even understand, but hard for them to deal with, because they feel like it should be somebody else to blame.
Yes. Oh,
We should be able to blame somebody else for that. Oh, we can blame, our husband. We can blame our parents for how they raised us and how we grew up. We can blame society because society is so wrong and crazy and racist and this and that. And there's all kinds of things. But, ultimately, it's up to us to
yep.
create, right?
I felt that deep in my bones when you said that. Like, we want to blame other people.
Yeah.
I think I went through, I think naturally when you're growing up and you're young and you can't do the things that you want to do, and so you blame your situation, or you blame your parents, and you blame your
Yes.
upbringing. And so like, I definitely, like, growing up, I think it's just normal teenager kind of argumentative smart ass kind of thing with my mom especially. And I really wanted to go away to school, and she absolutely didn't care that I got accepted to these universities that I was wanted to go away at, because all she cared about was that it would make me go into debt with student loans. And so I went to school locally, still got a great education, still got a degree, but I was always just very bitter about that, because I'm like, well, everyone's going away to school and I want to go away to school, and the universities away are better than what's here. And for so long I blamed that. And then for so long I blamed, it's hard to take ownership of some of the things that happen to you. And
Yes.
for so long I blamed, I just always needed to find someone to blame, or reasons to blame, as to like why my parents passed away or how I got
Yes.
cancer. And so those to me, because I always was passing the blame, I think the biggest lesson was for me is that I can't blame anything. And the biggest lesson is the type of cancer that I had is that there isn't a direct correlation to any cause. They do not know what causes Hodgkin's disease, Hodgkin's lymphoma.
No, they sure don't.
And so I had that. And so it's not genetic. It's not from of
Not
course, not from
anything.
smoking, not from eating bad,
Right.
was a completely healthy 23-year-old.
So nothing you can blame.
No one I can blame to this day. And so for years, I've had to work on that. And so that just truly makes you feel like once you start taking ownership of the things that you can control, that's
Yes.
the difference is
Yes.
you can't control people outside of you. You can't
Yes.
control how people think of you. What
No.
you can control is what you do in your actions.
Yes. And what you present,
Yep.
because we all present what we want to present.
Yeah. Yep.
Some people present, faces that are not real, and some people present things that are authentic,
Yes.
such as the way you present. And that was one thing that I love about you. I actually saw a live that you did, and I don't remember, it's been a minute, but I saw a live that you did, and I was like, I love that. I can't even remember what it was, but it inspired me so I went and started stalking you. I did. I was stalking you. I was like, I gotta find out where she is because this is good.
Man, I wish I knew what live this was.
I don't know. It was a long time ago, but
Yeah.
I found you and I was like, wow, and then I got hacked. So I
Oh
lost
no.
everybody. Yeah. So this is like a whole new page for me because I lost all my almost 5,000 people. And so now I'm starting over with that. So
Yeah.
that's why I was like, I think I had to rejoin your group and all this kind of stuff. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, yeah. But I did. I saw this live and you were so awesome. And the thing I loved about it, because to me, now I do some long lives, but not many. I try really hard not to do that. But I love the fact that your live was like 20 minutes long, but it was packed full of information. And I was like, now I like that. And I don't know how she does that, but I'm gonna keep watching.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no worries, because it was like powerful. I mean, you it's like you gave a power punch and you did it quickly. So everybody's attention was right there, and then you were done. And that, to me, that's perfect. That's how it should be done.
Yeah, no fluff. We don't do
No,
fluff here.
no.
We're straight
And
to the point.
no. And unless it's a master class or something, I'm not really trying to watch a live that's 2 hours long. I can't do it.
Oh, 100%. But that's me too, is like, I'm not big on podcasts. I think in the last year I've been a little bit bigger on them, but I definitely am not the person to watch live videos. Like I can't just sit still. And I think that's just me, but I can listen to something. And so I will listen to a live video. I just won't look at the person, or I'll listen to podcasts
I do a
while
lot
I'm
of
doing
that.
something else,
And
or while I'm driving in
audiobooks.
the car or something, like
Yes.
those are perfect. Or I'll be working out and listening to a podcast. So I like that. I like people who don't beat around the bush, but they do it in
Yes.
a way where it's not like there's a difference. There's a difference when people are very loud and in your face.
Well, and you don't feel rushed.
Right.
It feels natural, like you're having this amazing conversation and you're bringing value. That's basically what it feels like to me when I watch you.
Yeah. Well,
So
well,
I
thank you.
love
That's
it.
exactly that's exactly what I want to do. I feel that talking to people, regardless of the relationship, right? Like I feel like a lot of times people hold back because, oh, you're not paying me, or you're not my
Right.
client, or you're not in my inner circle. And
Right.
that's something I see a lot in this industry, or just I guess in general. Like people are very cliquey. And I've
Yes.
never been a part of a clique in my whole life.
Me either.
Like
I
I
can't stand
tried,
it.
like, that's the thing, like, when you're in high school, especially in the early 2000s, when I was in high school, like that's when I guess there's always been popular groups, but I feel like there's always like the cheerleaders, and then there's the popular partiers, and then there was the athletes. And so
The
I was
stoners.
right. And I feel like I had friends all over, and I had friends in each little group, but then I remember telling my mom one time, I'm like, I don't feel like anybody is stuck up in school. I could feel like everyone is nice. And I'm kind of friends with people in each group. And she's like, well, maybe you're the stuck up one. And I'm like, well, no, I don't think that's
I don't think
true.
so.
But yeah, I think because I was involved in so many different activities, I played softball, but I wasn't the best athlete. I played basketball, but I wasn't the best. So I had my friends, but I wasn't best friends with the best people, the most popular athletes and most popular, cheerleaders or things like that. And I feel like I've always been like that because, even when we were younger, all summer long I'd be in sports and I'd have my sports friends, but then during the school year I'd have my school friends. And so I mean, I think that no matter, I guess, like, I've always had friends from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, all different areas, from ages, old, young. I get along with pretty much everybody, and that's just how I've been. And I
Yeah.
can talk to pretty much anyone. And I feel like a lot of times people have the gift of gab when it comes to selling, and they use that to their advantage to take advantage of people.
Yeah.
I don't like that, or I don't know how to do that. I don't know if I could ever.
It's
I'm
that,
not
and that's a good thing because you don't need to do that.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that I'm always interested in people's perspectives. I think that's my biggest thing too. So, even if it's someone that I work with or I don't work with, I love to hear how things work, which is unfortunate because I think a lot of times people have abused those questions in the past where people are like,
Yeah.
how's your business? And they use them to turn on you, kind of,
Or steal your stuff.
yeah, or steal your stuff, steal your ideas. But for
I
me, I
had
just
a
genuinely want to know.
I had a friend of mine reach out to me saying that exact same thing. She was crying. She was
Oh,
from across the pond. Well, she's from where you're at, but she lives across the pond. She has for like 20 years or something. But she said that people actually stole her stuff. And I
yeah.
was like, because she has like this, she has a particular way that she works with people and stuff. And so, and it was wild because when she said it, I actually had seen the person and she didn't even have to tell me who it was. I knew.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, really? And I had actually looked at that program. I wasn't going to do it, but I had looked at the program just to see, what it was like. And when she explained it, she was like, girl, that is my program. I was like, wow, that is scandalous. I could never be that scandalous.
No, I don't know how people do it. That happens every day.
How they
Every
sleep?
day. Yeah.
How they
It's so
sleep?
sad. I don't know how, like, I'm very lucky, I guess, or grateful, I should say, lucky and grateful that nothing of mine has been stolen yet that I know of, because I know how prevalent it is. And I think that it happens to so many people,
Yes,
unfortunately.
yes,
And I guess it keeps the lawyers busy because you need to trademark your stuff then, but it's just very sad.
it is. It's just, I mean, it's like, how do you sleep at night when you do that kind of thing?
Yeah, small business owners, we all should be like supporting each other, and some
And it's
people just,
wild. And it's so how do you feel? I gotta ask you this because you're, a woman and we live in the States. How do you feel about the Roe v. Wade thing?
so I'm really sad. And I guess there's so many different aspects to this. There's so
Yes,
many different aspects to it, and there's so many different angles to it.
it's a lot underneath it.
Yep. And I can only talk about I will talk about my personal worry and being scared. And so, I mentioned I had cancer. And so when I was 20, right before I went through my second treatment, um, I had to freeze my eggs because they thought I was going to not be able to have children, be knocked into menopause with the chemo that I was going to get. And like I said, this is right before my second time. So I've already gone through radiation and chemo a full time. And then I was about to go into chemo and do a bone marrow transplant with the second time. So I was very grateful that I had the opportunity to do that. not knowing what was going to happen, but needless to say, everything has been kind of normal, I should say. Normal, whatever, through tests and everything.
Yeah.
Normal as, if you want to know my levels, I'll share them with you. But
No,
anyways,
no.
yeah, everything's normal.
Mhm.
However, now I'm 35. I have friends
You're about to be geriatric.
well, and then as far as like all the other things I've experienced, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, I don't know my situation if I were to try to conceive, right? And so one of those things is, there's IVF, and
Yeah.
I actually live in a state. I live in Indiana. Actually, Indiana just passed. They were the first state to just pass, like the first no abortion law, but they are also one of the first states to have so many provisions, like they will let abortion happen for rape and incest, complications to the mother. Like they have all the provisions that people have been wanting. Indiana has it. However, I was, when all this stuff happened is, IVF is underneath this umbrella. And so with IVF, you fertilize the egg outside of the body.
Right.
And what I was reading in a lot of these states, and I don't think I'm not fully sure what Indiana's final decision was, but technically if you fertilize all these eggs and you do IVF, they're going to make you carry all those eggs and take them to full pregnancies. And so a lot of times with IVF as well, they put multiple eggs in you, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And
So
so
they
a lot
want to
of
see
times,
which one is going to be viable.
right, and a lot of times some of those die and some of those don't succeed. And so one of the all other things I read is a lot of times people would have abortions or need some sort of surgical process to get those eggs out, if they didn't survive or whatever. You would actually have to carry that to term then in a state that didn't allow these kinds of procedures. So again, this is just what I've read. This is what I've experienced, or this is,
So it's true. So it's absolutely the truth.
and so I worry, like I worry for those things.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my doctors and everything, they're in Chicago, and Illinois is a like safe haven state. And I'm very grateful, very lucky that I live so close. And so I will never go to any medical care in Indiana. And this is a decision I made back when I had cancer the second time. But I will never, I think I'm grateful that I have a doctor and stuff established already in Chicago for these things.
Yes.
But so that part scares me. That is so long, I guess, I explained a lot, but
Yeah, that's good though.
that's truly like when that happened, I don't think I've ever had, there's been a lot of things that have happened in the last few years that have really hit home. But I
Mhm.
think like this one was the scariest one for me.
Yes, I can.
Um,
Yes.
because, we think that, okay, well, I always think that I can do whatever I need to, to help myself, or to, I have the financial resources or the insurance, and you think that you're going to be okay. And then it's like, well, somebody's telling you that you can't. Like,
Yes.
it's just very scary. How,
Yeah.
what are your feelings towards it?
I think that we slept and they snuck it in there.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
a
we
good way to put
slept
it.
and they snuck it because we just couldn't believe that it could be done. Because
Yes.
all these years and all this forward progress, and all the people and all the women that marched and died too, for
Yeah.
that cause, and for us to be able to do that, and they've done this. I heard something, but I'll have to tell you when we start recording.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, when I heard it, and then I was like, you know what? And then when I sat with it, and then when I heard you speak, I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it is so right, because now people are jumping up and down about it, and now we want to do marches and all types of shit, but we should have did that before.
Exactly.
I just truly believe that we didn't believe that it was
Right.
going to happen. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm.
it's almost like every time they start saying, the civil rights bill has to be renewed and all this stuff. Well, we just automatically assume that is going to be renewed,
Yep.
but then so we don't consider or think about the systematic racism and sexism as well
Mhm.
that is built into this world. It's not even this country, it's the planet. It's
Yeah.
built in. And so we don't think about that or consider that when these things start coming up.
Mhm.
I think it's a grievous disservice to women. I really do. I'm not a person that, is like, just run and get an abortion. But I'm a
Right.
person that says the option should be available if that's something that you need to do.
I
Because if you're raped, and then the other thing is, I really don't believe that it should be like contraception. I don't believe that about abortion. I never have. I think that there's so much damn contraception out there. You need to get on some of it if you don't want to have no kids.
right.
It's so much out there. I used to work in an OB clinic, and my God, the things I saw, there's so many things you can do.
Yes.
So I don't believe that should be used in that way. However, I say this because I always have said this. I have a daughter, and if she was 12 and had gotten pregnant, somebody had raped her or something like that, we would have had to go get an abortion because we weren't doing that. She
Right.
wasn't ready to raise a child, and I wasn't raising no more.
Mhm.
So I do feel like we should have that right, that it should be available to us if that's something that we want to do. And I don't think that they should be able to govern that.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Yeah.
as much as I love talking about this, we have to close it down now. So, Lauren, tell the people how they can get in touch with you. And then if you have anything that you want to share or, anything like that, just let them know.
Okay. Well, I am pretty prevalent on Facebook and Instagram. You can just search me for just with my name, Lauren Najar. I am both on Facebook, Instagram. I am also, I do also have a Facebook group. It's called Slaying with Success.
Very
Uh,
good.
yeah, thank you. And
Mhm.
it's been around for about 4 years now, so about the same time as my business. And yeah, that's pretty much my three areas you can find me. I typically do live trainings every Thursday inside the group. So if you need help with your business, with growing, with marketing, with lead generation, those will be the topics that I talk about.
Yes, yes. And her group is amazing, y'all. I'm a part of it. I love it. I try to go in there and spend some time.
Yeah.
However, I am at this place where I have to, I limit my social media. So people are in my inbox going, are you going to respond or something like that? But I got to limit that stuff because you'll get sucked into it and just, be scrolling and all that. And no. So at a
Yeah.
certain point, a certain time of day for me, I shut it down. I'm like, no, I turn my phone down, don't even look at it, stop it, because you can get sucked in.
Yes, I do everything with intention, especially signing into social media.
Yes,
Like
yes,
about 6 or 7 p.m. I'm not on it until about 9 a.m. the next day. So
exactly. And that's the thing. It's like as soon as you find your sweet spot for that.
Mhm.
So I'm so excited. This was amazing. Lauren is amazing. She has amazing services, and all of her details will be in the description of the video and the audio wherever you listen to or watch this. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been so much fun. And that is always, if you know me, that is my favorite word, fun. So go out and have a fun day. And if you are doing something that is changing the planet, make sure that you reach out to me so you can come on straight out of Savannah and talk about it. So thank you so much for joining us. Bye now.